Uh-huh. Okay. I'll be quiet.
I'll just leave you.
Okay. I better move this far. Tyler, you're introducing us.
Introduce? You don't want to do that? You don't want to introduce me? Okay.
We can get started whenever you are.
Okay, I will go ahead.
And after my class, I gotta get a picture with you in my class.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to Camden Fairview at 2:30.
Oh, you're going to them too?
Yeah, Leslie Hill.
Oh, okay.
She's got a special needs group that we go
Okay, okay.
Before they leave at 3. So I said I'll rush over.
It only take you 10 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta leave time to get over there.
Oh, you're from this area?
No, I'm actually from North Little Rock.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But love the state. I grew up here. I grew up in the States.
Okay. Well, hey, I watch you all the time.
Thank you. What's up? Yeah, me too. And this is
Some secondary classrooms and the rest of them are colleges. So you know my dream. What is it? I do teach kindergarten.
Alright, he's ready.
Alright, y'all hear me? Everybody super quiet and welcome our guest, Mr. James Bryant from KATV. He's going to tell you all about his awesome job. Does anybody know what he does? Have you heard? Oh, Hayden Hill, I see you. What does he do? He tells us the weather. Does that sound about right?
That's right.
Alright, well, I'm going to turn it over to him.
All right, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I love coming down to South Arkansas, great area of the state, beautiful area of the state. Everybody can see this okay, right? Yeah, there we go. So I'm a meteorologist. Yes, our job is to tell the weather. I first got into weather when I was your age, so think about that. Whatever you're doing right now, whatever really interests you, you can turn that into a career even though you're really young. That's really good. So if you say you like, you want to be a firefighter, you can turn that into a career. You like weather, you want to turn that into a career. You can. You want to be a doctor, you can turn it into a career. It's possible, and I am proof of that. I got into weather because it seems like that thunderstorm, beautiful, struck me from a very young age. I graduated from North Little Rock High School, so I'm an Arkansas kid just like y'all. I went to Mississippi State, division rival of Arkansas, but still an Arkansas kid. Got married along the way, and it's really had a great job at Channel 7 in North Little Rock that I got really not too long after I graduated college. I get to do a lot of stuff. School visits is one of them, but I do a little bit of sports. We make all the weather, of course, your usual 7-day forecast. But sometimes we're dealing with severe weather. Sometimes I get to go out of state and do some cool stuff as well. I was in a hurricane back in August. This is a different language in there. Completely different. This kind of stuff you can eventually do after you go from first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth, sixth, all the way through 12, all the way to college. Everything you do builds on itself so that one day you can eventually do stuff like this and do that higher level stuff. Who's been to the Museum of Discovery here? Anybody? Anybody ever seen that green wall right there? Yeah? Who can tell me how they how they make that look like this? Who can tell me? Yes, sir.
It is a green screen, like you can put it on your computer, and you can like make the light
That's right.
light box right here.
That's right. So,
you in front of the green screen.
So sometimes people think maybe we stand in front of a projector and do the weather, but actually, if you stand in front of a big green wall called the green screen, and we just take the color green and replace it with our weather graphics. Now, what happens if I wear the color green?
You blend green.
Yeah, I would blend it. I would blend straight into the wall. That's why we never wear green. So that's kind of the cool part about my job too. We get to use some cool technology. Did anybody here do virtual learning? Yeah. Well, we did, and we did virtual work from home, I guess, and we got to work from home for a little bit. And that's what my setup looked like. Computer monitors all over the living room. I prefer to do it in person, like I'm sure you guys do. This is our weather team at KATV. I am the man with the least experience on the team with the most experience. Our chief Barry has 36 years of experience. Todd over 25 now. Belinda over 27. And I'm going into year 3. And I'm very, very lucky to be a part of this group. They're very experienced. They have all been in Arkansas for a very long time. And Arkansas weather is what we do. Now, we work on TV. You guys know that if you've ever watched us. However, if you've ever flown on a plane, been in the military uses meteorologists. Southwest Airlines, airline companies use meteorologists. Weather is just what's happening right now in the lowest level of your atmosphere. So, have you guys ever seen this layers of the atmosphere graphic before? Anybody seen it in a textbook or something like that? All the weather we care about happens in the lowest level. And weather is defined as what is happening right now. Who can tell me what the weather is doing right now? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Sunny. What else? What else is the weather doing? Yes, ma'am. Cold. Sunny and cold. That's right. So our weather is sunny and cold. That's where we start when we go make a 7-day forecast. I got to know what's happening right now to get to this. So we take all this data, all these numbers, and we crunch the numbers to give you a 7-day forecast. Now, does that look like a 7-day forecast in Arkansas?
Yeah.
It does? How often is it that cold? Not very often. It is a 7-day forecast out of Arkansas. It's just not one we normally see. This is actually from last February. Does anybody remember last February? Anybody remember? Is this really good? Yeah, so everyone in Arkansas last February got in on a big snowstorm. And you guys know this. In South Arkansas, snow is just a little bit more rare than it is in other parts of the state. That doesn't mean it never happens. And last year we had so much snow in parts of the state that cars just became mounds of snow. And if you may remember down here even, these small lakes and ponds completely froze over. That is a lake that's got ice on it and snow on top of the ice. And so it was pretty incredible, a historical event. Does anybody remember the cold that came with it? Now look at this. Camden is down here. This will be the coldest temperature that many of you will have ever felt so far in your lives. It was -2. -2 degrees on February 16th. Wind chill, much worse. But that was a big, big weather event that you were going to remember for a long, long time. Camden right down here got over a foot of snow. And I think maybe some places down here had up to 18 inches, if you will remember, just almost a year ago. That's a big deal. We got a big storm, and perhaps you were out of school for a long time because of it. Now, that's about a once every 10 to 20 year thing. It doesn't happen very often. Probably not going to happen again this winter, that's for sure. But 2000, we had not one, not two, but 3 big storms. Camden's down here, 12 plus inches of snow. Later that year, we had 2 major ice storms. An ice storm was when it rains, it freezes, and it weighs down all the trees and power lines. We haven't had one of those in a long time. But odds are, as we go through the next several years, you will see an ice storm at some point, because we are due for one. Anybody ever seen this right here? Types of clouds. Types of clouds. We have tons of clouds. All right, my most interesting one that I like is cumulonimbus. Anybody ever heard the term cumulonimbus cloud before? Do you? Cumulonimbus clouds become thunderstorms, and sometimes thunderstorms, all they do is just it rains. They produce thunder, they produce lightning, but sometimes they grow into severe storms. And while we talked a little bit about winter weather, we saw great snow last year, right? That's not going to happen every year. But one thing that is going to happen every single year in Arkansas is we're going to get severe weather. That includes tornadoes, but it also includes hail, includes damaging winds, it includes floods. It's going to happen every year, and there's really nothing we can do about it. So a huge part of our mission is to make sure that you guys know what to do during severe weather. And a big part of our mission is to make sure that you guys stay safe during severe weather. And now Camden has had plenty of severe weather over the last several decades. And you guys are too young to remember some of these, but back in 2009, there was a big tornado, 2 big tornadoes, one that went north of town and one that went east of town. And it was in the middle of the afternoon. And you see that right there? See that fire truck up on that? That was at the Arkansas Fire Training Academy. That tornado hit. There's another picture of one of the insides that was hit by a tornado. The one key thing I want to pull out from this article is that there was a tornado warning that had been issued. Did anybody know what a tornado warning is? Anybody know what a tornado warning is? Yes, ma'am. What's a tornado warning? shelter. They want to shelter from a tornado. So a tornado was coming. All the firefighters at the training academy figured it out. And they took shelter and they avoided getting hurt from a tornado like that. We have big tornadoes in Arkansas sometimes. You see that? It's a big tornado. Yeah, that happened a few years ago, and it did a lot of damage. We have these big tornadoes that happen every so often in Arkansas. What about this? Can anybody see the tornado in this picture? It just kind of looks like a low-hanging cloud, right? I show you the difference because not all of our tornadoes are going to look like this. A lot of times, they're just going to look like low-hanging clouds that kind of just look like rain. And this is why we tell you not to go outside and look for it, because a lot of times we're going to run into the problem where we've got trees, we've got mountains, and then to couple that with it's probably raining, and the tornado just looks like a low-hanging cloud, and it's very difficult to spot the tornado because a lot of the times they aren't going to look like that. They're going to look like this. And so it's very important. There you see again. Difficult to see, difficult to see. There's a greater picture of this one, but it is difficult to see tornadoes in Arkansas unless you're just in the right place at the right time. That's why we don't have a ton of pictures of tornadoes in Arkansas. They're very limited, even when we have a bunch of them. So let's talk a little bit more about severe weather here in Canada. Does anyone remember Easter last year, maybe about 2 years ago, right about the start of the pandemic? A big line of storms came through Camden, and it wasn't tornadoes. It was all straight line damaging winds. Camden had over a lot of power outages. Anybody remember losing power a couple Easters ago? Yeah, I think everyone in this room remembers this. It was a really big deal, and we had a ton of wind. Not one single tornado. It was all wind. And this kind of thing happens as well, where we get big severe weather outbreaks, and it can happen any time of the year. But of course, our main severe weather season runs about November all the way through May. And so, to continue our discussion about tornadoes, right here in Arkansas, we live in the most perfect spot in the world for tornado development. And then I'm talking about the central United States, which includes Arkansas. I would just go ahead and include us in Tornado Alley, even though the old textbooks have us have it off to the west. Anybody ever done a tornado drill like this? Yeah. So the most important thing you can do during a tornado drill, whether you're doing it like this or you're in a safe room, is making sure that you cover up your head. You want to cover the head. That's the most important part of your body. That's what we want to protect when we're seeking shelter from a tornado. And I'll tell you this. I have taken shelter from a lot of tornadoes in my life. Maybe you have. I've never been hit by one. But we want to do it just in case, the small chance that a tornado actually does happen to impact you. When you're at school, like when you are here, you're going to be perfectly fine because your teachers, your administrators, they're always watching the weather to know if bad weather is coming. But what about when you're at home, when you're away from school? There's just 3 rules that we should remember when tornadoes become a possibility. And remember, I don't tell you this to frighten you. Making sure you do these things can help you stay safe during severe weather and other stuff like that. But you want to get inside. If you're outside on the playground, if you're playing outside with your friends, when severe weather's coming, you got to make sure you have a place to get inside. You want to get on the lowest level, and you want to cover up. We kind of talked about protecting the head. Bike helmets are a great resource during protecting yourself from tornadoes. So we talked a little bit about tornado warnings. Everybody knows what a tornado warning is, right? Right, tornado warnings. What about a tornado watch? Can someone explain to me what a tornado watch is? Yes, sir.
It's like a warning, but it's not really.
Well, that's correct. What about you? Tornado watch. What's a tornado watch?
Don't test them.
So a tornado watch is just when we're watching for a tornado. We're just watching. It doesn't mean you have to do anything different. It's a tornado warning. That means you got to get moving because a tornado could be coming. It's a tornado warning that is the big deal. Okay, so when a tornado warning comes, that's when we go on TV and we're talking about different communities that need to seek shelter. And sometimes there may come a time where Camden is under a tornado warning. You turn to Channel 7, we're on TV. We'll tell you, hey, this community, East Camden, whoever it may be needs to seek shelter because of a possible tornado. The way we do that is we have radar that can tell us where it is. Anybody ever seen these types of images that we'll pull up on TV? This helps us see inside the storm. We can figure out where the winds are rotating, and we can figure out who it's going to impact. And I'll tell you this, guys, if you ever have to seek shelter from a tornado, it's usually going to be for about 15 to 20 minutes, no longer. Tornadoes affect a very small area, but we still want to make sure that you are safe when tornadoes become a possibility, because we're going to get them every year. We get 30 to 40 every single year, and we haven't had any this year so far, but that's going to change. And if it happens in Calhoun County, you guys need to have a safe place to go to. So a question I have for you guys is, where would you go during a tornado? Yes, sir. A storm shelter. That is a great place to go to. Where else? Yes, sir. Do what? What do you think? Where would you go during a tornado? So we've got storm shelter on the board. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I'll do what we do at school.
Yeah.
I'll go in my room, because even though I'll do it on, my house is one floor, but I have like my bed that kind of stuff. So if you want to go to the roof, that's basically it.
That's right.
I should be under.
Yeah, you want to be on the lowest level of your home? Yes, ma'am. A basement. So we got storm shelter, lowest level, a basement. Yes, sir. Basement. Yes. You want to be underground. What if we can't go underground? Where would we go in our house if we needed to seek shelter from a tornado? Yes, sir.
In a metal place.
So something well built. Something well built and heavy. That's right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, she said one that's very important, something that's not on an outside wall. Would you want to seek shelter right there by that door? No, why? Because you want to be away from glass. So you guys are... That's right. You guys have got the idea on where to seek shelter from a tornado. What about where not to seek shelter from a tornado? And I'm looking for something that's outside a house, maybe something that brings you to school every day, something that you ride in. Yes, sir. A bus could be one of them. Maybe your parents have one. Yes. A car. Any type of vehicle. Bus, car. You do not want to be in any of that when a tornado is coming, because you know what happens? I bet you guys can guess. What happens when tornadoes impact the car? If I can find it here. Well, I don't think I have a picture of it here, but it's going to get thrown as far as the tornado can possibly throw it. See that fire truck just barely made it out, but still got crushed. I think in this damaged picture right here, you can possibly see some of the cars that have been thrown. Cars are a very bad place to be. Another bad place that you don't want to be during tornadoes, it's a type of home. Some of you may live there. I have family that lives in these. What am I talking about? Yes, sir. Not a hotel. Yes, sir. Not a barn. It's close. Yes, sir.
A woodhouse.
Could be. I'm thinking of something that's like an RV. An RV could be one of them that someone lives in. Yes.
It's a a brick house.
I'm thinking of mobile homes or trailers. Anybody live in a mobile home? So what happens in an RV, a camper, or a mobile home, they don't get tied down to the ground. They're easy to move. And tornadoes will move them. So you don't want to be in a car, and you don't want to be in a mobile home. And remember, if you live there, I'm not telling you this, Bryant, I'm telling you this, so that you can put a plan together at your house to get in, get down, and cover up, to stay safe from tornadoes. We want you to be safe during severe weather season, and hopefully nothing happens to Calhoun County or to your house during severe weather season. But it does happen to someone every year, and we want to make sure that you guys are prepared. When you're at school, you're safe, but you guys are also used to a lot of time at home. So with that, I will answer some questions, and I will let Mr. Lincoln call on you guys for questions.
So raise your hand if you have questions. Okay, right here, the first one. Do you have a question for him?
Say that again. Yes, so she said, what if you have to get the closet? A closet, like my house, I don't have a basement. I don't have a storage closet. So where do I go? Closet. I go to a closet in the middle of the house. I could either pick the closet or the bathroom. Either one would work. Very good question.
All right, we have a VIP question with more.
I just had a question about the storm chasers. Do they have to go through any training to be a storm chaser, or are they just normal people that?
So it just depends. There are a lot of people who will just download a radar app, get in their car, and go search. And that's a great way to learn, but you know, it can be kind of dangerous. There is a storm spotter course the National Weather Service offers that can help. Basically, if you know what you're looking at and you know how to read a radar, I think you can be fine. But so a lot of these guys, like me, like when I was 17, I didn't have a course. I just started going, looking. And you just kind of learn to do it over time. You just want to make sure that you're doing it safely.
All right, we got any more questions? Hunter, what's your question, brother?
Yeah. Tornadoes impact a lot of our cantons every year.
All right, Sawyer.
Oh, yeah. You want to make sure, and when you're in a closet or a bathroom, you can also put pillows or a mattress in there with you to protect you. That's a great option. That's good.
All right, Madison.
That is a good point. You want to be in a strong house, strong structure.
All right, let's go over here. Right here, buddy, in the front.
So his question was, would you want to be on a dock on the edge of the lake? So those things are usually built out of wood, right? They don't have anything else really to protect you, so I think that would not be a good place. Yeah. Yeah, you want to be in a concrete or brick structure. Concrete or brick.
Good comment. All right. Right here, buddy.
How are you so good at your job?
Well, thank you. No, I just, it's like riding a bike. When you do it every single day, you just get better and better and better. You could ask your teachers the same thing. Miss Moore, how are you so good at your job? She does it every day. Every day. So that's how she gets it. That's all I do.
All right, Walker. You go to the bathroom to take shelter.
That's a good spot. Bathrooms are a good place.
All right, that's Lawson.
How long did you have to go to school?
Meteorology school was 4 years. Just undergrad. That's all. Now, there are people that go a lot longer. I was in and out.
Morlock.
Speaking of when, one time I went to my grandma's on Easter, we went to one of the places where all the boxes are. My little sister Lola and I we made a tree house, and then we went
That's all. That whole line did a ton of damage. Trampolines were one of the things that just went flying, right?
It went right up to like the back.
Yeah. Yeah. See, you guys have already, you guys are really young, but you already experienced severe weather on Easter and then the big snowstorm in February. And as you grow up, more stuff like this will happen.
All right, Liam.
Yes, I get it.
Wyatt. All right, let's listen to your question. In the basement, we go to the basement. Okay. All right, let's do. All right, Bradley. Under your bed.
Yes, that's a good place, as long as you're away from windows.
I think we wanted to take classes,
Yes.
but can we all give him a round of applause? Thank you for driving way down south to Little Rock.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, so we're going to do class members again. So Miss Moore, you come on up to your class, and I know you want to do this.
Oh, yes.
Miss Moore, class, come on.
I just want you to know that I do Yes, I am a newscaster as well. My newscast is More News, and I broadcast live on Facebook. Anytime there's a storm or anything like that, I broadcast. Yes, I love it. I watch news every day. I watch my class, television, I watch news every day.
All right, close eyes. We're going to say 1, 2, 3. Tornado Pinguetas, ready? Hang on, let me get you all in. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Thank you so much.
All right, Miss Tina, you want to come over here?
We don't know how to act. You missed a picture.